Hi, I'm Mayor Jay Tibshraeny, and welcome to this edition of Chandler Inside and Out. Got a little new twist for you today with the show. We're going to interview David Specht, who is the owner-operator with his wife of improvMANIA. So David, number one, thank you for being here today and for taping the show today.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's good seeing you again.
And we're going to get into about improvMANIA,
Sure.
what that is, but I think maybe before we get into improvMANIA, which is a new business in town, maybe tell the audience just a little bit about yourself, give them a little background, and then we'll get into improvMANIA.
Great. Well, again, thank you for having me, Mayor. Call you Mayor?
Yes, that's a good one.
Okay, good. I've got a squirrely reputation, so I want to make sure I do that right. My name is David. My wife and I run improvMANIA, which is in Downtown Chandler. We just opened September of 2014. We're coming up on our one-year anniversary, and what we do is produce live improv shows, teach classes. I moved here from Illinois in 2001. I moved to Chandler and actually met my wife, who's a Chandler native.
Really?
Yeah. And we met doing improv in the same troupe. And she's from here, and we started walking around on our wedding day when we were actually married in Downtown Chandler. And we thought, how cool would it be to someday open a place down here, because everybody thinks of entertainment or comedy. You have to go to Scottsdale, you have to go to Tempe. And we thought, let's bring it to them and let's see if Chandler's ready. So we brought it, we opened our doors, and it's been an absolute pleasant surprise, the reception that we've gotten. So
that's cool.
It's a blast.
So Colleen, what's her maiden name?
Pirtle.
Pirtle.
It's like a turtle with a P.
With a P.
Yeah.
You met her in Chandler then?
Yeah.
And doing some improv.
Yeah, we were doing improv up in Scottsdale. We met, knew each other for a long, long time, and then eventually started dating. And I actually, I proposed to her during an improv comedy show, which
really
may not be the best idea if that's what you're thinking about doing, because she at first didn't know if it was serious or not. She didn't know what it was. So, yeah, but it was a blast.
How many years has that been then since you guys got married?
We've been married 6.5 years.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so now we have 2 little kids who both are, going to be raised here in Chandler.
And for folks that really don't know a lot about improv, explain to folks what improv is. You and I were talking before we started taping. I liken it to the people that are on Saturday Night Live. Most of those folks come from some kind of improv comedy background. They get spotted as superstar talents, and then they go do Saturday Night Live, which is a little more scripted, but still the basis for that was their talent doing improv, which is non-scripted comedy.
Correct. It's all unscripted. Everything we do is unscripted. Like, you would be the example of Saturday Night Live with your cue cards. I would be the example of improv just off the cuff right now. Yeah. So I'm completely unscripted. I may know kind of what we're going to talk about. I may know the functionality of what we're doing. But content-wise, I don't know what's on the cards. I know you sent me questions. I didn't read them because I'm a purist. So this is all,
you did not read my question?
I don't do it. I don't
not
do
even
it.
number 7.
I don't do it. I don't do it. So you can ask me anything. I'm an open book. But yeah, even when our shows start, we may say, an audience member may come up and say, hey, it's my husband's birthday. And I'll say, give me the name, but that's it. Don't tell me anything else. So we discover new information during the show. We spotlight, people in our audience. We learn about what's going on with their lives, and then we do scenes completely based on new information we just heard as the audience is discovering it. So
I like that.
Yeah.
Everything is non-scripted.
It's how you wake up, Jay. There is no, Mayor.
Jay's good.
You wake up unscripted. So kids are not scripted. Kids play, and adults somehow learn these rules of having to be normal and fall into these parameters. And we basically just teach people how to unlearn all these rules that life has saddled you with. So
you do, besides your shows, you have shows, you also have classes.
Yeah, we do a lot of classes, which has been just a real blessing that we thought if the classes take off, we're going to be a success. And from day one, our classes have been a success. So we do an adult class, and then we have 3 levels. So we have an adult class, which is just learning the basics of improv, listening, agreement, and heightening. Adding information, and then we have an advanced class where we learn more scene work for those who want to actually perform improv, and then we have a performance class that does a monthly show. But what I'm really excited about is we have a kids class and a teen class, and we have enough people in there where we call them troops. So we have a troop of kids who do a monthly show and a troop of teens who perform monthly as well. So it's
Is it multiple classes for each, like you'll sign up and you go to multiple sessions, or is it one time, or how does that work?
The kids and the teens go to 4 a month, so it's the first 4 Saturdays of the month. The last Saturday of the month is their showcase. So parents, if they want to get their kids out of the house, sign them up for improv, and they get rid of them for an hour, and they get to be as goofy, and we encourage it, just as silly and goofy as they want, in a controlled manner, in a listening agreement type of way, and it's an absolute blast. We have a blast with it.
And we'll get the contact information on the screen when this starts playing, so that folks that want to reach out to you for themselves, their kids, their friends, what have you, they can have the contact phone number or website, whatever it may be, email. I'll have our staff put it on the screen so that you can have.
It'll be up right now, and we're talking about it right now?
I don't think they're that quick.
It's not right here right now?
It's not there.
All right, cool.
It'll be about right here when they do it.
improvmania.net's the website, and all the information's there. You can find us on Google, but yeah, it's great.
improvmania.net.
.net, you got it. Yep.
Good.
Yeah.
So you've gotten a pretty decent reaction from the community on the classes, it sounds like. And then how about the shows? Are they every night of the week, on the weekends? How's that work?
We do 4 shows a weekend. So we do 2 shows on Friday night, one at 7 o'clock, which is all ages appropriate, completely clean. So we get a lot of families, kids, people who don't know if grandma can handle language or not. They come to the 7 o'clock show and check it out. And then our 9 o'clock show is just a little more adult. It's not it's not dirty humor. It's not blue, but it's just more adult content. Whereas the 7 o'clock show is really gamey and fast paced for kids to enjoy. And we do that Friday night and Saturday night. So 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock, Friday and Saturday.
Those are your shows.
Those are the shows.
Downtown Chandler.
Yep. And then we teach on Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, and Saturdays are the kids and teen classes.
Give us a rundown of the cast. How many people are involved with the cast and the business and that kind of thing? Because I know when I had a little bit of an experience with you guys, which we're going to show a clip later in the show, but you had quite a few there entertaining at the Chamber Awards banquet this past June, which was really a fun event. That's when I knew about you and I'd heard about you, but that's the first time I got to actually personally interact with your group. But
that's the first time I met you. I met you in the crowd, and we called you up.
You did.
Which was great.
It was
fun. Which was great. So now I've been to your show, right?
Yes.
So now you need to come to our show. Calling out the mayor. No, the cast. You're asking about the cast. We have about a dozen people in the cast, age 17 to in their 50s. So we've got a couple of high school students who are extremely bright and talented and gifted, and they work really hard. They've been to Chicago and New York, and they're theater students, and they've worked really hard. So they're beyond their years in talent.
Right.
And then we've got folks all the way up the age gamut up to in their 50s, and they vary from. We have a whole lot of teachers in our cast, which is extremely
teaching profession.
Teachers, yeah. They're professionally teachers, and they perform improv. We have an art teacher. We have a faculty member. My wife is a teacher. Yeah, we have several teachers, which is very, very interesting. A lot of nurturing people in our cast, which is
well, teachers are talented folks, and they're also able to express themselves and maybe artistic in their own ways. So.
Yeah, and they're constantly up in front of an audience of kids.
True.
So all day long, they're basically performing.
How about the facility? Like I said, I have not been in the facility. Talk a little bit about the facility and what someone can expect when they walk into the facility. And again, give me the address of the facility.
It's 250 South Arizona Avenue, basically across the street here from City Hall. So when you get off work, just come over someday and come see a show.
Yes.
But the facility is it's hopefully not what you think of when you think of the Grand Theater. It is a small boutique, small town theater. It is a 100-seat theater, which is very, very intimate. A lot of people walk in and they think, wow, this is small. But it's a small theater in Chandler. I mean, I don't know if they're expecting a giant venue, but it's very, very intimate. So there's no seat that's far from the stage. We're extremely interactive with our audience, as you found out.
Right.
But we will, spotlight a birthday, an anniversary. If there's a kid in the audience, we may ask them about their day. So we really, really get to know our audience, whether it's 100 people or 30. But yeah, it's an intimate venue. You walk in, there's the ticket counter, then you go around to the actual theater room, and it's a 100-seat theater, so there's really no bad seat in the house.
No holds barred.
No holds barred.
If you go to the show, you might be asked a question.
You will be asked a question. You will be interacted with. You're not going to get like you were, called up on stage in front of your friends and peers unwillingly, but
Yeah.
you will be, spotlighted if you're celebrating. We get a lot of birthdays, a lot of kids' parties, a lot of anniversaries, and we don't bring them up just to embarrass them, but we really spotlight and highlight those people, and really, make a special event for them.
Yeah, like when I was called up on the stage,
Yeah.
actually my vice mayor grabbed me going out the back door, and then him and one of the council members carried me up on stage. But I really wanted to do it. I was there was another thing I had to go to, but unfortunately I didn't quite get out of the building.
Yeah, we call what you did a hesitant angst, where you did it, but you weren't happy about it at first, but you really were a good sport. So
I got into my role.
you did. You did it well.
It was fun, actually.
We get a lot of that.
What's the secret to successful improv? Because obviously it becomes a career for folks. It's a business for you, maybe a career in the future. But what's the secret to successful improv, folks? And again, I've watched kind of some of the folks from day one on Saturday Night Live to now, and you got some really talented folks there.
Yeah, we've got a great
crazy
group. Yeah, I think the best advice is not to try to be funny. The funny will happen when something becomes relatable. It becomes enjoyable. So if somebody can relate to a situation, it becomes enjoyable. But if you're just being a ham, it becomes really tough. So I always ask people, would you rather sit next to an interesting person or somebody who's really trying to be funny? You usually want to sit next to the interesting person. So becoming real, exploring something that something is said. We do a lot of corporate training and team building. So one of the tenets of our team building is listening, agreeing, and heightening. Whereas a lot of times if something is presented to us that's a little bit different, you hear no thank you, this is how we've always done it. Whereas in improv, it's fun to playfully discover something. So if you went with your gut instinct that night, you wouldn't have come up on stage, but you fought it, you agreed, and then you added your information, and it became very, very enjoyable. So that's the secret.
I'm not going to go all the way with the enjoyable. It was tolerable.
Well, I think you were the only one in the room that didn't enjoy it then.
I was having fun.
It was a hit.
It was good.
It was an absolute hit.
No, it was good. It was good. Well, speaking of that, we're going to go to a clip from that night. I'm not sure which clip our staff's going to show, but we'll take a look at it, and then we'll come right back. I'll reintroduce the show. Okay. Don't go away, by the way.
I'll stay here, yeah.
And then we'll do the last half of the show.
Great. Fantastic.
So, well, thank you for that round of applause, you guys. I forgot to hear it, I think. Oh, there they are. There they are. Yeah. All right. All right. We were going to film this part ahead of time, but I think we'll do it live. Here we go. A lot of times during our show, we will pull somebody up out of the audience to help us out a little bit. So, I've been warned, but I'm a guy who likes to take risks. You go big or go home, right? Right? We're going to do this. And I may need your help getting this person up on stage, because I'm told it depends what kind of mood he's in. But the vice mayor has helped us out. Why not get the mayor up on stage at an improv comedy show? Mayor Jay Tibshraeny! Jay. Nobody is saying it. I don't know if we're allowed to call him Jay. Is this one on? All right. All right, Jay, how are you, sir? Good. Nice to meet you. Good. So we're going to do a scene for you here. It is Hollywood themed tonight. So what we're going to do is create a blockbuster for you. And everybody knows in blockbusters, there's a lot of effects. All the sound effects for our blockbuster are going to come from Jay himself. He's going to do all the sound effects for this movie. Woo! So if it doesn't go well, it's on the mayor, all right? Yeah, his throat hurts. So we'll put you at the podium. We'll see if that works for you. I'll get you warmed up. Jay, so you're not going out cold. All right, Jay, you ready? All right, I'm going to take this little pebble here, and I'm going to throw it through a big plate glass window, and this is the sound it's going to make. You ready? Jay, is the mic on? That was you. Okay, that's fine. That's why we do these things. That's cool. If you would show up to rehearsal one time, Jay. All right, I'm going to take this. It's a larger sized rock because that pebble didn't even make a sound. I'm going to throw it through a really old plate glass window about 15 feet out. You ready? Here we go. Jay, the sound that would make. There it is. Okay. Okay. All right, good. We're there. We're getting there.
Is that better?
Yep. Okay. All right, so here we go. I'm going to shoot I've got a basketball in my hand here. It's about a 8-foot jump shot.
Can I ask a question? Is this the whole thing?
No. We're going to get started as soon as you cooperate. As soon as you cooperate.
This
I don't think
about
anybody.
as much cooperation as you're going to get.
Nobody is allowed to talk to you this way, I understand. All right, ready?
No,
I'm going to shoot a jump
does
shot.
all the time.
I'm going to shoot a jump shot, and you're going to make the sound it'll make. And then we're going to create a blockbuster. That's why we're warming you up. Here we go.
Clank.
Okay, I missed. Right. Nobody upstages the mayor. Lesson learned.
Clank.
All right. Cool. So Jay's going to do all the sound effects for this movie we're going to create, which he's wasted about half of our time now getting warmed up.
I'm filibustering.
He's filibustering.
The more I filibuster, the less of a fool you can make me look like.
This is going how I thought it would. That's good. All right. So we're going to do a blockbuster. What I need from the audience is a name of a movie that's never been made that sounds like a summer blockbuster. How about that table right there? Just the name of a movie that's never been made. It should be super easy because it's not a movie. The Tornado, yes. All right, so this movie's called The Tornado. We're gonna create it on the spot, and all the sound effects are gonna come from you. We might give you verbal cues and say this is happening, and then you'll make the sound. Cool?
Good.
I feel super about this. Okay.
Let's do it.
All right, guys, we've got some microphones here. Don't be afraid to jump in the scene here, but this is The Tornado. Action.
Hey, Alice, I'm just going out to the barn to milk the cow.
Okay, Daddy.
I'm gonna open the creaky old gate.
Creak. Creak.
Hey there, Bessie.
Moo.
Bessie don't sound too good, Daddy.
Oh.
What's that?
Bessie's got tornado illness.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Come inside. Is the wind blowing outside? Close that door. Wind's blowing out there.
The door's jammed. Sorry.
Shut it hard.
Shut it.
Clank.
There it is.
Sorry, guys, I just shot a jump shot over there. Did you hear the sound? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought there was the NBA Finals starting to...
What is that voice?
Wait a second. I think I hear the weather alert on my phone. That little chime it makes, you know, when there's bad weather outside.
You're losing your
I
mind
don't have that
fast.
phone. I don't know what sound it makes.
Ricky and Steven, I think a tornado's coming because the chicken's making the weirdest sound. Listen to this when I poke them.
Click, 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 click.
Oh!
That's
Ain't
weird.
that crazy?
It sounds like it's shooting jump shots.
I know it.
We gotta do something
Guys,
on it.
I don't know what's wrong with my kid. He's making this horrible noise every time I poke him. It just... Actually, he's dead, I think. So I'm
Oh, that was my guess.
Hey guys, don't you hear that? The tornado siren's going off.
I actually hear that.
Yeah.
I hear that.
That's a tornado.
Let's get into the cellar.
All right, that is our time. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Mayor Jay Tibshraeny. So that's what it's going to sound like if a tornado ever hits Chandler. Guys, we're improvMANIA. We've had a blast. Thank you so much.
I'm Mayor Jay Tibshraeny. You're watching Chandler Inside and Out. We're talking about the new business in town, improvMANIA. David Specht is here. Thanks, Dave, for being here, talking about things. We just showed a clip. So I guess I want to talk to you a little bit about, that was like I say, a chamber event, but you do corporate events, team building, maybe for businesses that are listening or folks that run businesses. Talk a little bit about what that role can be for you guys, improvMANIA, to help a corporation or a small business with team building.
Yeah, thank you. There are a couple different facets where it can really be successful for teams and companies. Like we said before the clip, one of the basic tenets of improv is agreement and saying yes and then heightening that information. So what we do is two things with corporations. One is either we can come out and just do a show, which is fine. Mm-hmm. It's an enjoyable product, and then everybody goes home, they talk about it, they laugh, which is great. We do that all the time. The other piece of what we do is team building. We do a lot of corporate team building, and that's been very successful with teams that, you know, they're not dysfunctional, there's nothing wrong, but maybe they're stuck, or they need new ideas, fresh ideas, they need to combine forces, and we take them and we have them do improv drills, and the agreement piece kind of comes out a little bit, right. And then as the course, it's usually about a 2.5-hour workshop, and then as they go through it, they become more and more comfortable, and we put more and more things in front of them where they need to accomplish certain tasks, and it ends up where they're just out of their minds, having a great time. Everybody's saying yes to the most ridiculous things, and they're having a great time. So
they've got to work their way into it, right?
yeah, well, it's more like just coming out of their shell a little bit,
Yeah.
because nobody wants to get in there and they walk in, it's an improv comedy club, and they think, what are we doing here? So
Yeah.
we have to ease them into it, and then by the end, they're having a great time.
So they can do it at the facility, or you could go to the business too,
We can do
right?
either one. We advise they come to our place just to get everybody out of their comfort zone, where the leader isn't the leader. We don't see anybody's rank.
Right.
We absolutely get everybody and treat them all the same. So we've had the most success with local companies, coming
Good.
to us, groups of 15 to 25 usually at a time, and it's been a blast.
Good. Well, we wish you good luck on that
Yeah.
too. I heard some of my council members that I work with have been in your facility and have done a little improv. How did they do?
They did well. They did well. Like I said, we don't normally just pull people up, but when it's a public figure, I mean, you've put yourself in that situation.
Yes.
So, I mean, you've been campaigning, you worked hard, so we get you up in front of your people whether you want to or not. So, yeah, we've had the vice mayor came out, Mr. Hartke, he did a great job, and Mr. Human, he did great as well. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, good stuff. They were both there the night you got me on stage too.
Yeah, they watched.
Yes,
yeah, Jeff Weniger had been there. He was a city council member for a long time. He was there. Yeah, he's done well.
Did he come up on stage?
He did. Oh yeah, yeah,
Huh.
yeah. You don't sneak in and sneak out. Yeah.
So we've got some budding improvMANIA folks here on the local elected official scene.
It's possible they could be one and done. I don't know.
So I was going to ask you, moving on to a next line of questioning, maybe some folks that have influenced your career in terms of comedians, improv folks that you maybe think, hey, they're really good, or you modeled yourself after. Who's kind of been a pretty good influence on?
Yeah,
on
though
you?
that's a great question. I always remember things that made my parents laugh, and that's always kind of an indicator. The first time you think something's funny is when it makes mom and dad laugh.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was really little, it was Johnny Carson on TV,
Yes.
and then when I transitioned in to be able to pick what I watched, I remember. I mean, this seems really old, but I remember Tim Conway. I remember old clips of Dick Van Dyke. I
Well,
remember.
you don't look, you're young, so
Well, I do a lot
you're-
of research. People think, well, how do you know that guy? How do you know this guy? Well, I mean, you go back and you look, and YouTube's just a click away. So if I hear a name, I'll go back and watch. I like the old talk show hosts. I remember, when I was in high school, Dave Letterman went from NBC to CBS, and I watched him every single night, just watching the flawless interaction with the crowd, how he handled guests. How he just delivered jokes when something didn't go right. He'd wing it.
Yeah.
So he was a pretty big influence on me. More recently, also when I was in high school, Jim Carrey got really, really big.
A lot of good physical,
really
like
physical.
Dick Van Dyke and Jim Carrey. They're funny people, but then they got a lot of physical comedy too.
Yeah, and they also do a good job connecting emotionally, which helps as well. So
Yeah.
just the total package with some of those guys.
That's cool. What do you think of Will Ferrell? I get a kick out of him. He's pretty funny.
Yeah, he's kind of cornered the market on adult dopey idiot. So,
Yeah.
nobody can take that market away from him. I think he's sealed it up for the next 10 years or so.
Yeah, well, that's good. Any other stuff you'd like to talk about, or that we haven't touched on before we move on to the next area of conversation?
I guess, we've had a lot of really good feedback of people who come to the comedy club thinking it's stand-up comedy, which is okay. It's fun to introduce them to improv. So we've introduced a lot of audiences to improv comedy, which some people think, oh, I've been to an improv, or I've heard that name, and I remember, this stand-up act, and we kind of reintroduce them to improv, or introduce them to improv.
Stand-up is a totally different
different beast.
That's
totally
the
different
guy
beast.
comes out, he's got a prepared comedy routine.
Jokes, same jokes all the time, tours
Right.
them around the country, or works on them for a year or two.
Gets good.
Yep, but
But a
it's
lot of
hard to
practice.
produce that right. You couldn't do 4 shows a weekend of stand-up because your audience will have seen that. So
Yeah.
Improv, to me, is more, I don't want to pit one against the other, but it's just a little bit different. It's been fun to expose an audience to a completely new form. Also, kids and teens can't get into comedy clubs. So to do a family-friendly show where you see kids with their friends at a comedy club at an early age, Jay, you never know when you're making a memory, and I guarantee there's some kids who whatever it's striking with them, whether it's, agreement, or when something funny was said, or they decide to try something different out of the ordinary, or they connect on some level, To me, that's just
Right.
extraordinary to have kids witness live interactive shows. Even if they go see a play, they can't shout suggestions or accents or locations or have anybody come interact with you. I mean, it's not done. So to have that exposure to the kids and the families is fantastic.
Yeah. Have you had any crazy or unusual things happen in the year that you've been open?
We've had a couple. You know, like when you came on stage, you're not one of the crazy ones. You did what you were supposed to do, what we were set you up to do. But when you have an audience member up there and it's maybe a late show, and you give them, you know, access to participating, you never know what's going to happen. So we've had some people come in maybe under some kind of an influence and shout a couple things that we've been surprised by. There's also, I remember one show in particular, we had a couple of elderly women, you know, probably easily in their 80s. They came in together, kind of shuffled into the Saturday 9 o'clock show, and I thought, my goodness, this is going to be the time when we, you know, our adult content is just a little too much for them. And they were the most vile women, audience members of the whole time we've been open, and they shouted out the most. I mean, I couldn't believe my ears. So they were kind of fun, but again, I was very, very surprised by these particular audience members. I worried that we might be too much for them, but they proved to be way too much for us.
That's too funny.
Yeah,
that's too funny.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to have you guys in Downtown Chandler because we're real excited about what's happening in Downtown Chandler. And you guys bring a whole different, unique entertainment aspect to downtown, which is what we want to get. You know, we're working on getting some unique movie theaters into town, but having live comedy, I think, is a real important part of downtown. And obviously, you picked downtown for a reason.
Yeah, we wanted to bring something. We noticed when we were performing in Tempe and Scottsdale that a lot of the people were driving from the East Valley, and we thought, well, what if we just went to the East Valley? We performed there, and they didn't have to drive anywhere. And my wife and I also, we would go out in Downtown Chandler. We would go to Santa Maria, Zocalo, all these great establishments, and we would notice, not just us, but a lot of couples walking around, what else can we do down here? You know, we had people willing to spend the time and spend the money in Downtown Chandler and stay there. And we like to say you can come down for dinner and see entertainment and just park your car once. So that's kind of our goal is, you know, drink, dessert, show, keep your money local, and just park your car one time.
Yeah, we like that. We like that. I think it's been a good addition for downtown. It complements what we're doing down here, and hopefully it's going to grow with what we're doing in Downtown Chandler.
Yeah, we hope so too.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you coming out today. It's been kind of interesting to find out a little bit more about you. I said I learned a little bit about you at the awards banquet, but yeah, it's good, and we wish you the best for
Thank
sure.
Thank you very much.
We'll have to do this again. We'll have to follow up, and I will get over and see the show.
Come on down. Lose the necktie. Just relax.
I will.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
You bet. Thank you.
I'm Mayor Jay Tibshraeny. You've been watching Chandler Inside and Out. Hope you enjoyed the show. Till I see you again, take care and be safe, Chandler. Thank you.
Boom.